8 billion humans. It may sound like a lot, but compared to the true legions that inhabit this planet, we are nothing more than an insignificant minority. While we fight for space and cities, entire armies hide beneath our feet, in forests, in the skies, and even within the walls of our homes. Trillions, quadrillions, numbers so immense they defy human comprehension. Today you are going to discover who really rules the earth. Prepare to meet the most numerous and most powerful creatures ever to walk, crawl, or fly in this world. After hearing these numbers, you will never look at an insect the same way again. Number 10. Bees. Imagine a world without the hum of bees. It might seem peaceful, but it would mark the beginning of a deadly silence. They are far more than tiny honey producers. They are the invisible gears that keep life in motion. Every flight they take carries the weight of survival for 75% of the crops that feed the planet. Fruits, grains, coffee, flowers, everything that colors our tables exists because somewhere a bee decided to work. They are the link between earth and sky, between pollen and bread. Inside a hive reigns an organization that challenges even human logic. Thousands of individuals, each with a precise role, acting as if they shared a single collective mind. Workers, drones, and the queen, a perfect society where everything is sacrifice for the whole. But when two queens are born at the same time, paradise turns into a battlefield. Only one can rule. The fight is ruthless, and the sound of their clash echoes like the thunder of a biological empire deciding its fate. Even with all this structure, the strength of bees lies not in their numbers, but in their purpose. Nature chose them to pollinate, to connect species, and to ensure the continuity of life. They don't just fly from flower to flower, they write the cycle of existence with their wings. Without them, the planet would plunge into ecological collapse. Forests would wither, crops would vanish, and in time, humankind would feel the absence of something once thought too small to matter. When it comes to collective intelligence, no living being comes closer to perfection than the bee. They have proven that true strength does not come from size, but from unity, that working in harmony can sustain an entire world. And perhaps that is their greatest lesson to us. While humans build for themselves, bees build for everyone. Number 9. Grasshoppers and locusts. Imagine looking toward the horizon and seeing the sky darken, not from clouds, but from billions of wings. Is the sound of chaos rising from the desert, a living, hungry, unstoppable storm. Such are the grasshoppers when they unite. Alone, they seem harmless, simple jumpers living among leaves and grains. But when population density rises, something changes inside them. A simple touch on their hind legs releases serotonin, and what was once solitary becomes an army. A plague is born. A natural phenomenon so devastating it became immortalized in the pages of the Bible and in the records of entire civilizations. The 8th plague of Egypt, described in the scriptures, was no metaphor. It was the faithful portrait of a biological invasion. Ancient Chinese chronicles and African records tell similar stories. Lands devoured in hours, fields turned to dust, and entire populations reduced to hunger. In the 19th century, the American West witnessed the horror of the Rocky Mountain locust plague, a swarm so immense it covered an area equivalent to the state of California. It's estimated that over 12 trillion grasshoppers formed a single living cloud, dense enough to block the sun and plunge the day into complete darkness. But the power of the locusts lies not only in their numbers, it lies in their synchronicity. They move as one mind, obeying a collective instinct that turns the air itself into despair. The sound of their wings is like continuous thunder. The wind shifts, and the landscape becomes a carpet in motion. Is nature's fury concentrated into tiny bodies, capable of consuming thousands of tons of food in a single day? No human army has ever caused so much destruction in so little time. And yet, there is something fascinating about this terror. Locusts are the raw reflection of ecological imbalance, a reminder that when the environment exceeds its limits, nature strikes back with precision and force. They do not appear from nowhere. They are the result of untimely rains, excessive heat, overly fertile soil. They are, at their core, the planet's echo trying to rebalance itself. And perhaps the real wonder is not in their power to destroy, but in our eternal surprise at something that deep down has always been beneath our feet. Number 8. Hemipterans. Among insects, few groups are as ingenious, and at the same time as feared, as the hemipterans. They are creatures equipped with a biological weapon worthy of science fiction, a natural needle, precise and lethal. With it, they pierce, suck, and survive. This adaptation turned their mouthparts into a tool of precision, a living syringe capable of extracting vital fluids from plants, animals, and even us. If the world is a banquet of fluids, hemipterans are the guests who never leave. But what truly impresses is the diversity of this microscopic empire. There are over 80,000 known species spread across every continent, each with its own hunting style. Aphids form legions across crops, draining the life from leaves and spreading viruses that cause billions in losses. Bedbugs, masters of disguise and patience, have turned human blood into a nightly meal, attacking while the world sleeps. And cicadas, with their 100 decibel symphonies, emerge from underground after 17 years in a spectacle of unimaginable numbers, trillions vibrating in unison. This order of insects proves that success in nature doesn't always come from strength, but from strategy. They didn't need venom, speed, or muscle, only a beak. A simple evolutionary tube that placed them at the top of the planet's liquid food chain. Wherever there is sap, blood, or sweat, a hemipteran is waiting its turn. They dominate what others ignore, the invisible, the microscopic, the foundations of life itself. Behind this brutal biology lies a lesson in adaptation. While we create technology to reach what we desire, they evolve to extract what they need. And perhaps that is the essence of life in its purest form, finding a way to exist, even if it means turning one's own body into a tool for survival. Number 7. Termites. At first glance, termites seem like nothing more than household pests, tiny creatures that gnaw through doors and furniture. But behind that unfair reputation lies an underground empire that sustains the balance of the planet. It is estimated that around 440 trillion termites are alive at this very moment, a population so vast it rivals the very foundations of life itself. Beneath our feet, they build cities, cultivate gardens, and recycle the world, turning what dies into new energy. If they were to disappear, Earth would enter a slow, irreversible ecological collapse. These engineers of the Earth have mastered the art of cooperation. Inside a termite mound, everything has a purpose. Tunnels for ventilation, chambers for breeding, corridors for transport, and even dedicated agricultural zones. Yes, agriculture. Termites have been farmers for millions of years, cultivating special fungi within their colonies and feeding on them in a perfect symbiotic relationship. They chew wood, transform it into pulp, and deposit it in specific chambers where the fungus grows. Later, they feed on that cultivation, a partnership that only termites and humans have managed to establish on such a scale. But the true secret of termites lies within each of them. Inside their bodies lives a complete ecosystem of microorganisms that digest cellulose, something termites themselves couldn't do alone. Bacteria and protozoa work tirelessly, turning the impossible into energy. It is nature cooperating both inside and out. A single termite is fragile, but together they become a biological force capable of reshaping soil, fertilizing forests, and keeping the cycle of life in motion. Termites remind us that to destroy and to create can be one and the same. That behind what we call a pest lies a mechanism essential to the planet's survival. They teach that power doesn't come from appearance but from purpose, that greatness can dwell deep underground, far from the spotlight. In silence, termites hold up the world, and they've been doing so far longer than any human civilization has dared to exist. Number 6. Butterflies and moths. There's something almost spiritual about butterflies and moths. They seem made of silence and light, creatures born to float between the real and the symbolic. Since ancient civilizations, they've been seen as messengers from beyond. In Japan, they represented the souls of the living and the dead. For the Aztecs, they were the spirits of fallen warriors returning in the form of fire. But behind that delicacy hides an extraordinary biological power, the ability to transform completely. Metamorphosis is one of nature's most radical feats, a rebirth within life itself. Inside the chrysalis, the caterpillar's body dissolves into a soup of cells, a microscopic chaos that reorganizes into something new. It's as if DNA itself were a sculptor, shaping wings where once there was only hunger and crawl. Before such a transformation, the butterfly emerges not merely as an insect, but as a metaphor for life itself, proof that every destruction can conceal a new beginning. And it is precisely this ability to change that explains their success. With over 180,000 species, they've adapted to every corner of the planet, painting the air with colors science still struggles to decipher. But they spread more than beauty. With every flight, they help pollinate flowers, balance ecosystems, and keep the planet alive. The most emblematic of them all, the monarch butterfly, performs one of the most extraordinary migrations ever recorded, traveling over 4,000 kilometers, crossing borders and generations. None that start the journey ever reach the end. The path is completed by their descendants, guided by a genetic compass that defies human logic. It is a dance between time and inheritance, a poem written on wings. Perhaps that is why butterflies captivate the human gaze so deeply. They are a reminder that life is movement, transition, and courage to change. That even the most fragile being can cross continents and leave eternal traces in the sky. And above all, that within every seemingly lost form, there exists a possibility of flight, waiting for the right moment to be born. Number 5. Dragonflies. Under sunlight, a dragonfly seems like nothing more than a shimmering dot hovering over the lake. But look closer, and you'll realize you're witnessing one of the most perfect hunting machines nature has ever created. More than 300 million years ago, long before dinosaurs ruled the earth, dragonflies were already flying, hunting with a precision that human engineering still strives to imitate. Today, with around 40 trillion individuals spread across the planet, they remain symbols of lightness and lethality. For behind every graceful flight lies a relentless predator. While other creatures hunt through strength, the dragonfly triumphs through intelligence. Its brain, no larger than a grain of sand, is a perfect calculation system. When it chooses a target, it doesn't chase, it predicts. In real time, it calculates the exact point where the prey will be and flies straight to intercept, achieving a success rate of over 95%. It is the most efficient hunter on Earth. Neither lions, eagles, nor sharks come close to such precision. Its eyes, made of more than 30,000 lenses, create a panoramic 360-degree map, capturing movements invisible to us. That superhuman vision gives its flight an almost supernatural choreography. Dragonflies can hover, fly backward, and change direction in the blink of an eye, all with a stability that inspired modern helicopter design. And while the world sees them as delicate, they are the invisible line of defense that keeps mosquito and fly populations under control. Without them, diseases would spread, ecosystems would falter, and the air would feel heavier, less alive. Each dragonfly is, quietly, a pillar of natural balance. To look at a dragonfly is to witness the fusion of art and mathematics, to see the past and future of life in a single being. They remind us that perfection doesn't need size, only purpose. That true power lies not in destruction, but in sustaining motion. And perhaps when a dragonfly hovers before us for an instant, it isn't by chance. It's nature showing that beauty and precision can coexist, and that deep down, every lightness is born from strength. Number 4. Beetles. Among all the creatures that have ever inhabited Earth, few can boast of conquering as many territories as beetles. They are the true masters of diversity. Over 400,000 described species, each adapted to a different way of life. 1 in every 4 known animals on the planet is a beetle. They are everywhere beneath the soil, on leaves, in forests, deserts, waters, and even our gardens. They are nature's silent laborers, encased in armor that evolution spent millions of years perfecting. The secret of their success lies in the elytron, that hard shield that protects their wings and bodies. This simple yet ingenious structure allows them to traverse hostile environments, burrow into the earth, swim, or fly without fear. It is living armor, the passport to domination. Thanks to it, beetles learned to survive in conditions that would destroy most species. While many vanished, they multiplied, and multiplied the planet along with them. Their estimated population reaches 400 trillion individuals, an army that keeps nature in motion day and night without rest. But they are not just survivors. They are symbols. In ancient Egypt, the scarab represented the cycle of the sun and of life itself, rolling its ball of dung as the god Ra pushed the solar orb across the sky. Others shine in the darkness, like fireflies, which produce cold light through flawless chemical reactions. And there are the rhinoceros beetles, true titans capable of lifting up to 850 times their own weight. Each species is a miracle of adaptation and purpose, shaped to exist in harmony with the world, or to conquer it when needed. When we look at a beetle, we see more than an insect. We see the result of millions of years of persistence. They are living proof that evolutionary success doesn't need to be spectacular, only constant. In the silence of the underground and the glow of tropical nights, beetles continue their tireless work without applause. And perhaps that is what makes them truly grand, the fact that they have conquered the world, not through force, but through patience. Number 3. Spiders. Few animals inspire as much fear as spiders, and perhaps that's precisely why they rule the planet in silence. They weave their traps in the shadows, wait for the right moment, and watch. The world is full of them, more than 150 trillion, spread across every corner of Earth. Even though they are not technically insects, their presence is so constant and powerful that it would be impossible to leave them out of this ranking. Wherever there is life, there is a web. And beneath each one, a patient predator attuned to the rhythm of its prey. They are the engineers of fear. Every thread they spin is a masterpiece of calculation and resistance, so fine it seems made of air, yet strong enough to hold a creature 1,000 times larger. The silk they produce is one of the most resilient substances known, stronger than steel in proportion to its weight. In some parts of the world, like Australia, that strength manifests on an apocalyptic scale. After floods, millions of spiders cast their silk into the wind to escape the rising water, transforming entire cities into ghostly landscapes veiled in white. A real nightmare, and yet a breathtaking display of mass survival. Each spider is a universe of strategies. Some hunt with venom, others with cunning. There are those that pretend to be flowers, waiting for a curious insect's touch. Others build burrows with silk doors, sensing the faintest tremor. Within their jaws lies nature distilled, precision, patience, and purpose. They are the shadows that keep the world in balance, controlling insect populations that, without them, would have long since become an unbearable plague. If there is an invisible predator holding the order of things together, it has 8 legs. And it's curious to think that our fear of them is, in truth, fear of the essential. Spiders remind us that the world works because there are predators, because there is control. That the beauty of life exists only because somewhere something is hunting. Perhaps the secret of spiders lies precisely in that, in silence. They don't roar, fly, or chase. They wait, and in the end they win. Number 2. Ants. Beneath every step we take lies an invisible empire, a subterranean world pulsing with order, purpose, and discipline. These are the ants, the true rulers of the planet. With an estimated population of 24 quadrillion individuals, they outnumber every other multicellular creature that has ever existed. There are about 2.5 million ants for every human being, and their total biomass surpasses that of all wild mammals and birds combined. We live on the ants' planet. We just haven't noticed it yet. They dominate the soil, the underground, and even the treetops, operating as a civilization on a biological scale. The secret to their dominance lies in cooperation. A single ant is almost nothing, vulnerable, limited. But together, they become part of a collective intelligence, a shared mind that decides, builds, attacks, and cultivates. They communicate through pheromones, a chemical language so complex it allows them to coordinate entire armies, wage wars, build living bridges, and even grow fungi, just like termites. This invisible symphony of communication and labor is the foundation of their empire. Every colony is a superorganism, a brain made of bodies. What's most impressive is that over millions of years they perfected the concept of society long before we did. Some species build nests that stretch for kilometers. Others, like the Argentine ant, have formed a mega-colony that spans continents. Populations in Europe, California, and Japan recognize each other as part of the same chemical clan, never waging war among themselves. By instinct, they have created something humanity still strives for, a united global civilization. If they were to disappear, the soil would die. Without their tunnels, the earth would stop breathing, plants would cease to grow, and ecological balance would collapse. Ants are the ultimate expression of organized life. They prove that true power lies not in domination, but in cooperation. While we build empires of concrete, they build underground kingdoms that sustain the earth. And if there's one lesson to learn from this tireless army, it's this: greatness isn't defined by size, but by the ability to work together. Ants not only survived the extinction of the dinosaurs, they thrived upon their ashes. And they will likely remain long after we are gone, keeping life alive where everything else has turned to dust. Number 1. Mosquitoes. Among all the creatures that share the planet with us, none has shaped human history as much as the mosquito. Small, irritating, and seemingly fragile, it carries on its wings the weight of millions of deaths. A single buzz can announce centuries of tragedy. Over time, the mosquito has proven to be the deadliest animal on Earth, deadlier than lions, snakes, or sharks. With nearly 200 trillion individuals scattered across the globe, it has turned biology into a weapon and blood into fuel. Its bite is discreet, yet its mark is etched into humanity's DNA. It was the mosquito that brought down empires, halted wars, and redrew maps. Malaria, transmitted by the genus Anopheles, devastated entire armies and weakened civilizations such as the Roman Empire. Yellow fever and dengue, spread by Aedes aegypti, turned tropical regions into invisible battlefields. In the 19th century, mosquitoes defeated French engineers who tried to build the Panama Canal, killing more than 20,000 workers and turning the project into a tropical grave. Only when the Americans realized their true enemy had wings did they finally conquer the jungle. But the mosquito's true power lies in its persistence. It reproduces in a single drop of water, in any forgotten corner. It knows no borders or seasons. With each generation, it adapts to human defenses, outsmarting medicines, insecticides, and barriers. It is living proof that nature doesn't need strength to win, only time. And mosquitoes have all the time in the world. They are a constant reminder that human arrogance is fragile, and that sometimes the greatest enemy has no claws, only near-invisible wings. As hated as it may be, the mosquito plays a role few understand. It is food for fish, bats, and birds, sustaining entire ecosystems. Even so, it's impossible to look at it without a trace of ancestral fear. Perhaps because in its simplicity, it reveals an uncomfortable truth, that life is a fragile web, and all it takes is one tiny insect to shake everything we believe we control. In the end, the mosquito is proof that power has nothing to do with size. It lies in the impact one leaves on the world. In the end of this impossible countdown, it becomes clear that life is far greater than us. Beneath every leaf, stone, and grain of soil lies a universe that works in silence, driven by instinct, balance, and purpose. While humankind seeks power and control, these small beings simply fulfill their role, and that is precisely what makes them magnificent. They remind us that the true value of existence is not in being the greatest, but in being essential. That the earth does not belong to those who speak the loudest, but to those who, in silence, keep everything alive. To watch more documentaries like this, subscribe to the channel, and see you next time.